Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves a good asterisk. It's Frank. How are you today?
Or do I? No, I'm more of a double dagger guy myself.
Oh,
That's the one that I like. Yeah.
that's the one you like?
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
I like an asterisk because it sounds almost like it's going to be a swear word, but it's not. It's just grammar.
Uh,
Yes.
true. True.
How are you
Yeah.
today?
All right. I'm doing okay. I am doing okay. I'm happy to be. I'm looking forward to getting into this chat with you today. How are you?
I'm
What's new?
also I'm also good. Nothing's new. Nothing I want to share on the podcast anyway. No, really, nothing's new. I don't. What am I? I'm in the mid-30s and a dad. What do you think is new? Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Um, but anyway, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a machine Czech
Oh,
style
Kelly.
pills.
Oh, no. Okay.
Machine pills, Czech style pills from the Bunker Brewing Company of Portland, Maine.
Sounds delicious.
It's crisp, it's refreshing, just like spring weather should be.
Mm. It is neither of those things outside my window
Not
right now.
right now, no, but
Muggy and
should be.
rainy but it makes everything green, so I'm not complaining. I like the
Exactly.
yep, the rain when it's not in my house, I like the rain. That's
That's the best place for it, is not in my house.
not in my house.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
I am on my last Dora Dam.
Mhm.
It is from Barcelona, 1876. Although it's the one I'm holding itself is not as old as 1876. I hope, but I haven't tasted it yet, so we'll find out.
What's the
Not
verdict?
not as old as 1876.
Okay. Woof. That's a relief.
Close one, really, truly. Could
Yeah.
have been.
I
Could have been. It feels like I've had it in my fridge since 1876. So I'm ready for new
Well,
things. That's the tough part about buying a six pack, where
mm,
because I rarely have a drink outside of this show. Like in a weird way, like my basically one beer a week when we record this is when we record this program. Um, program, and
program.
program.
Yeah. There are weeks that is true for me too. Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
not always, but, like, if I do have one, it would be out of my house, it
Mhm.
wouldn't be in, so then I don't remember necessarily what I had, like,
Mm.
I had a great Pilsner the other day, and now I had, there was, a key lime beer
Ooh.
that I had that was really good, but I can't remember the company,
Sure.
so
Yeah, yeah.
phooey on them, but it was good. I'll think of it.
That's
It's
say that,
kinda
that's life.
yeah,
That's the life of
an elf? Yeah,
the yes. Mhm.
such is the life of an elf. That's my obscure Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer reference.
I like that one. Oh, is it Rudolph? I thought it was Elf for
No, that is,
yeah.
it's, something I guess when, like, Herbie wants to be a dentist
Sure.
and then Sam the Snowman is like, "Well, such is the life of an elf."
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, every time something happens to my wife where she, like, has to do something and something goes wrong, she's like, "Well, such is the life of an elf. Here we go."
Nice. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I like that.
Speaking of misfits, Frank, we both saw Thunderbolts. How's that a
Yes.
se how is that for a segue?
Excellent. Well
Thank you.
done.
Yeah, we both saw Thunderbolts, Marvel's
Yes.
newest addition to the MCU, film number
Yeah.
and I don't know, 40 something probably.
Yeah, something
Um,
yeah, around there.
and we're here to talk about it. I haven't talked to you about this at all. I actually
Nope.
wasn't even aware that you saw it until
Nope.
you were like, "Let's talk Thunderbolts," and I was like,
Yep.
"Great, awesome,
Yep.
let's
Yep.
do
We
it."
have not talked about it, not talked about it at all.
At all. This is a total surprise. I will go first since we know that I saw it. I really liked it. I think it's one of the best ones they've put out in in a good while. And I
Mm.
feel like every time Marvel puts out a movie, like, that's good, people are like, "It's the best one in a good while," which I was like, "But
Mm.
Deadpool and Wolverine was great, and I just saw that one
Yeah.
last year." So a while, I mean, a year? Like, Daredevil was great, but
Yeah.
that just finished. So, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America 4 was a movie that I saw.
Yes.
Anyway, but this one I fully enjoyed. I thought it was great and it worked. It worked subtextually as well as textually, and
Mm.
really enjoyed it. What did you think?
I had I was sort of up and down about it.
Mm,
There, I thought it was on the whole, I was like, that was pretty good. But I was uh happy overall with like how each character um came out of it.
Mm.
Um I think I was sort of going along through the whole movie, sort of trying to figure out what is I was trying to categorize it the whole time. I was trying to be like, what is is this a, it's not a heist movie, it's not a, like, what is the thing that it is? And it's kind of,
It's an Avengers movie. That's
it's an
what it
event.
is.
Yeah, really is what it is
Mhm.
what it is. Um so it I think uh I was trying to figure out what it was I was watching the whole time, and it wasn't until towards the end that I sort of realized, like, it's not really any of those things. It's just a superhero movie. Like, it's really straightforwardly a superhero movie.
It is straightforwardly well, yes, I think that's part of the cleverness of the film is that they are decidedly not superheroes.
They are decidedly
Right,
not,
the
yes.
formula is that of a traditional
E
superhero film,
exactly. Yeah,
but they are not heroes, which I inverts the formula slightly,
yeah.
because the movie is, it's really about depression, right? Pretty
Totally.
obviously
The
on
Void, yeah.
right, and so, but you have this group that all suffer from traumatic pasts,
Mhm,
in a way that, like, if you do a healthy comparison between Avengers and New Avengers,
mhm.
the Thunderbolts, then it's, they're disparate. Some of them are linked by the government who go to a place that, like, an underground bunker thing.
Yep.
Then and then they have to team up because of something that happens in the underground bunker thing.
Sure.
And then they are slightly oppositional to each other, but then they learn to work together, and then they are the new superhero team.
Mhm, mhm.
That's it. It's like, but it wants you to notice those things, which
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
like, I don't know. Might be a strange comparison, but it's not The Force Awakens, whereas
Sure.
I feel
Where
like
it's
Force
a paint
Awakens
by
is like,
numbers remake
it
of the,
it's a paint by numbers remake of A New Hope, where it's like,
yeah.
here's the desert planet, here's the this, here's the this, where it's like, sh Rey wants to stay on Jakku, whereas Luke wants to leave Tatooine. You see what we did there? It's not the
Mm.
Death Star, it's not a man-made station, it's a planet, it's like, but it's the same. It's
Mhm.
all the same.
Sure.
And this one I like because it's just not enough the same.
Yeah.
Like, like, even like, when you think it's going to go big, it ends up going small.
They do a lot of that. A lot of subverting your expectations in that way.
And I think that's what I really liked about it, and
Mhm.
I also really like that it took a bunch of characters that I really don't care about in the slightest, looking at
Yeah.
you, Ghost, um, and I fully enjoyed every single one of them, looking at you, Ghost,
Mm.
like
Mhm,
that, and I
mhm.
think
Yeah, yeah.
that makes, that made a huge difference to me,
Yeah.
as a film goer.
Did it feel to you at times like you were watching more of a Marvel Disney Plus series?
No, do explain that.
Some of the team dynamics, some of the, and maybe it's because some of these characters, like John Walker originated in one. But no, I some of the team dynamics and their shared history, and the dialogue between them kind of felt to me like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it felt like I was watching, I guess, because it's of the sort of episodic nature of the MCU in general, where it sort of feels like I'm watching another installment in this long, parade of
Mhm.
stories that tell one big story. Um but there were moments where I was like, I feel like I'm watching an episode of a very good Avengers streaming series.
Yep, I could see that. I don't know if that's an insult or not, because the streaming series, like, are pretty indiscernible from the films and vice versa. So in
Mhm.
some way, like, that doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
I think it's made on a smaller budget
Mhm.
than some like say an Avenger, like a classic Avengers movie,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
Hmm.
Like whatever. Like it uses its set pieces intelligently. Uh,
Extraordinarily well.
mhm. So yeah, I don't really I wouldn't consider that a um
It's not a knock. It's not a
yeah,
knock on it.
I wouldn't consider it a
Yeah.
knock. No.
How did you what was your reaction to how they brought the villain to life? Is it, what I don't know
Do you want to just talk spoilers?
Sentry.
Is that what you're getting
I
at?
mean, yeah, we might as well
Yeah.
get into it.
Okay, well, before we do that, would you for anybody, like, would you recommend it? Or would you
Yes,
say is this
totally.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're if you're at all interested in the Marvel universe, this is one not to miss.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So to answer your question,
You could miss Captain America and be fine.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
Apart from the very passing reference to the film in this one,
Yeah. But
you're
like you saw the trailers, you get it.
yep. If you saw the trailer, then you don't need to see it to see this movie. That's
No.
right, because you saw it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
saw what
saw
you
the
need to see.
important bit. Yep, I agree. Um, so when you say the villain, technically the villain is Valentina,
I
Allegra de Fontaine.
I suppose it is
Um,
Valentina.
she's the anti Nick Fury, right?
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Mhm.
She's the opposite. She's the opposite of Nick. Um, but she uses Bob Reynolds, aka the Sentry,
Mhm.
to her advantage. I don't really care about the Sentry at all. Like when I was in the real throes of reading comics when I just started, that was just at the start of Bendis's run on New Avengers, right? They had
Uh-huh.
just started New Avengers, and the Sentry was a huge part of that.
Sure.
And so I was kind of there for all the Sentry stuff, and I didn't really ever connect with the character. I didn't whatever, but I loved Lewis Pullman in this movie.
Mm.
He was my favorite part of the movie. Um,
Nice.
yeah, it's a totally not a well, no, it's a really less complicated version of the Sentry, who
Mhm.
has an extraordinarily convoluted M Marvel universe, like, thing going on.
I see.
Um, but this I liked that you have every character every character is an a replacement for a previous Avenger some
Mhm.
way, right? So you have White Widow who is for Black Widow, right? Alana who is for Natasha.
Mhm.
Um you have Red Guardian and US Agent for Captain
Mhm.
America, or even you really have Red Guardian for Thor more than
Yeah. Yeah, he's
anybody.
kind of for
He's that
Thor.
boisterous Thor-ish kind of guy.
Yeah.
You have US Agent and Bucky,
Yeah.
for Captain
For
America
Cap, yeah.
or Hawkeye in some way. One of them is like
Yeah.
one of them's Hawkeye-ish, one of them's Captain America. Um, you have Ghost for Vision, like
I get
in some
yeah.
capacity, right? So try to think of the original Avengers. Like the numbers aren't exact, the amount of them are not the
No,
exact.
the numbers don't exactly work out. There's
No,
not really a Tony analog. There's not really a
I guess Ghost is the Tony. I'm just thinking like you have the technology person or whatever.
yeah.
So then in that way
In
it's
that way.
Ghost. But then you have Bob Reynolds, and what Avenger are you missing? The unstable, Incredible Hulk,
Right.
right? Um,
Right.
and so, but instead of anger, it's depression.
Mhm.
Um, and I really liked that the Hulk in a lot of ways is like was going to be a weapon for the government, runs from the government, does all these things, and you have that kind of thing again,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
he can't be the Sentry without being the
The
Void,
Void
without
also.
causing destruction, and then but it's just done in a really different way with
Mhm.
real not that the Hulk doesn't have real feels or anything like that, but you feel for a guy who had a tough life and just it just continues to rain on him.
Yeah.
Um, but he is reading Rick Rubin's book, so, good for him.
That's true. That good for him.
Yeah, good for him. No,
Uh, eh
I really liked him. I liked the use of Sentry, like, they're looking like, "I want my own superhero,
Yeah.
so here's a golden guardian of good,"
Mhm.
like, the
Mhm.
ostentatious yellow suit. You think the gold's a like, if that's a Tony callback, right? I think the gold's
Yes,
a little
right,
too
right.
ostentatious. I think he looked great. They, like, even comment, like, "Dye your hair,"
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
about the optics of something and how that too much government oversight is it's basically the US agent thing all over again, but this time with
Yeah.
a bigger, like, a even larger
Yeah.
super soldier, like, because that's basically what he is, right? So,
Yes, absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
Bucky, John, and Alexei are all, super soldiers,
Yep.
so, um, yeah, I what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was, it did a really, really good job of, making these characters, putting these characters in a situation where they had to work together, right? And, like, making that sort of the thrust of the whole thing.
Right, because that's what
Um
Allegra says at the beginning, she's like, "I couldn't think of a worse group of people to work together,"
Exactly,
and here
exactly,
you are.
and they set it up, yeah, she set it up, and then we watched that them struggle through that.
Mhm.
And that was where the heart of the movie was for me, was those characters sort of forming a dynamic, a team
Mhm.
dynamic.
What I think I loved about it the most is that without I think with, probably with and I wanna say with intention, that a lot of the stuff that they had to do, like, to be a team is, like, classic team building exercises.
Yes, that's so
They're like,
true.
"Okay, everybody link
Yeah,
arms,
right, right.
do the walk, but do it in, like you have to do it the superhero way. If you let go, you die."
Of course. Yes, naturally. Yes.
No, I think that kind of stuff really worked for me, and
Yeah.
there's some, like, really good classic symbols that work out, like, they're all pitted against each other and none of it's working, but then when it starts to work, John cuts open the cactus and offers food as kind of this, like, reconciliation between all of them, and now they're
Yeah.
good for it, and stuff like that really, you know the stuff like that really worked for me
Yeah.
early,
Yeah.
like, it just, I wanna say it sounds might sound disparaging, but, like, it's because there wasn't a wasted second or line of dialogue or action in the film
Mm.
that didn't have intention of purpose to tell a good story,
Mhm.
then it did what it was supposed to do. And I said that might sound disparaging because there's definitely Marvel films that don't do that.
Oh, sure.
That don't think that way or
Mhm.
aren't made that way. But that's why I think this one was pretty elevated because every time it either does something quite classic, like, food
Mhm.
for reconciliation, for communion, of some kind, or you think it's gonna go big, the big, like, the crane is falling into
Oh,
this, and
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, they're gonna have to run across that at some point, and they're gonna do the thing," and, like, it doesn't
Totally.
touch it. Does
Nope.
like, that's it, that's the amount of destruction, and everybody's okay at the end.
Yeah.
Like, literally everybody's
Yeah.
okay, maybe not emotionally, but,
Well, sure, yeah.
but I really I just, I I think that Marvel sometimes gets into the complicated mess of being a hero, or,
Yes.
like, in kind of um, the, um, the difficulty of that, I think, of Age of Ultron or
Mm,
Iron Man 3, where Tony is dealing with these bigger ramifications of things, but not you don't see every character go
sure.
through that. But this one is literally every character, and they have been set up in every other project they've been in, for this one. So I think because they were able to hit the ground running pretty pretty early,
It's true.
I appreciated that
Yeah,
as well.
that it's true. It was a great, sort of climax for, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she's been sort of doing this role in,
Bits.
bits, and this was the first, time she really got to really sit with the character for a bit,
Mhm.
and, star in a movie.
And truthfully, understated performance. I
Yes,
Tru
yeah.
Like, she could have very easily have gone over the top or
Mhm.
big or in the way that we've seen her in some ways in her bit roles earlier, but she was
Sure.
really toned back here, which gave her a good like, a really good menace.
Ve
Um
very controlled.
Mhm,
Very controlled, yeah. Yeah. Kept her wits about her. But now, as Yelena said, they own her now. So
mhm.
that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, that
Um
last scene, the after credit scene that is from Doomsday.
Oh,
It wasn't
really?
made for this. That was a Russo brothers scene that they pulled for this movie.
Okay, nice.
Um, which I loved, and I liked that you could see that they're still doing it, and they're
Mm,
like, but I also I feel like showing the Fantastic Four ship was a little cart before the horse.
mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
it was like, okay,
Well,
well, I
yeah,
mean, I knew they were going to get there. I mean,
sure,
it's not shocking, but maybe it's like, I mean, I guess the equivalent in some ways feels like, like seeing Mjolnir at the end of Iron Man 2.
sure.
It didn't, but not in a way like, "Oh, Thor's coming." It was like, "Oh, but I already know the Fantastic Four." Like, I don't know. There
Yeah,
was something about it I did not care for.
I
Um,
gotcha. I
but
gotcha.
that's okay. They all got their coiffed hair, so, good for
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Exactly, yeah. I think got to be on the Wheaties box, so
Mhm. The Wheaties box. It's me. I am on the Wheaties box. Um,
that was funny. It was funny. It is starting to feel a little like I'm starting to hear people's criticism about the like always undercutting with humor or the like setting up a joke you can see a mile away, like the Wheaties thing sort of being the shawarma of this one, like,
oh, yeah, I did
you
not think
know,
about that. Mhm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I see people's point about some of the humor being a little bit too cute, but like I still enjoy it.
Like, I'm not in there to not have a good time.
Yeah, like, is there more clever humor? Yes, absolutely, there's more highbrow elevated
Yeah,
comedy than that, but, like,
sure.
it was fun.
Right, but it's so yeah,
It's fun.
I don't necessarily I think that if you make not everything needs to be highbrow. Sometimes
Right,
the spectacle and the fun is enough.
and there's other aspects of this movie that are what you might call elevated or highbrow,
Right. Mhm.
like you were talking about the symbolism before. How about the fact that, like, they literally are putting all these characters in the same places that the Avengers were in that
Right,
movie, in the first
right.
Avengers movie?
Mhm.
Literally in the same spot, outside Avengers Tower, like at outside Grand Central there. All
Yep.
these like physically they're in the same locations that they shot that movie in.
Mhm.
And being in Tony's office there, obviously at the top of Avengers Tower, like
Right, your breaker says, like, "How many battles have been fought here?"
yeah, right.
I'm like,
They draw attention to it. Like this is
2."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Mm, depends. It depends on which ones you count.
Yeah, I count Ultron
Mm-hmm.
and Loki, and
Loki.
then my mind blanked after that,
Mm,
actually. I couldn't really think of any after that. Vulture, not really in Avengers Tower.
mm,
I mean,
yeah,
Vision, like, does a thing at some point, but I wouldn't call that a battle, you know?
right.
But anyway, um, but
A
obviously,
couple.
they're also having adventures that we don't see, right?
That's
That's
true.
part of
That's
the
true.
charm, but again, like, Loki is a good example of that where, like, Loki gets decimated, he is defeated inside Avengers Tower, right?
Yes. Yes.
And but in this case, they are defeated inside Avengers Tower, like, there's always that inversion. I talked about this in the trailer way back when, like, every Avengers film, there's a big light in the sky.
Yes.
So then the inverse is that there's darkness on the ground, right? The shadows on the
Yes.
ground instead of the
Yes.
light in the sky. And I just like that's the kind of stuff that I like. Like I said, it's not the highest brow of,
Sure.
things, but like they also understand their own assignment. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know their audience. Like in their I'm sorry everybody, their audience skews a little younger. They're not making the movie to please the 45-year-old.
Right.
It's
Well,
to please the
yeah.
14-year-old.
It's
Um,
meant yeah, it's gonna be a little broad. It's gonna be
right.
a little broad because that's
Should be. They gotta hit the widest base possible, and,
exactly.
like, movies that are too over your head when you're a kid, you don't don't love.
No.
And
Right.
so, yeah.
That's the tough thing, right? About all this stuff, all be it Star Wars or superheroes, like, it is a moving target of like, you've got yes, it's made for 12-year-olds, but then those 12-year-olds grow up and they still want to be able to consume this. So we have to sort of, it's the
Mhm,
constant balance that they're doing, I guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to give one shout out to Wendell Pierce.
Mm,
Because I love Wendell Pierce. He's
mm,
great.
mm.
He played the congressman, in the thing. He's gonna be Perry White in Superman.
Yep.
And I just liked him, and I wanted more of him. Like, that was like, that's it. I was like, "Bucky, read the packet," you know? Um, so just saw a thing that Sebastian Stan did not understand why the dishwasher thing was funny.
Oh yeah.
But then when he saw the movie, he was like, "Nah, alright, it was funny."
It's funny. It
No, it
was
is
very
funny.
funny. Yeah.
It is funny. I also saw that John Walker at one point says "on your left," which
Oh, I missed that.
I missed it too, and I guess
Oh.
he was pretty adamant that he didn't want to say it because he didn't, like, want to
Mm.
be tied to Captain America that way, but it was an ADR add-in.
Uh,
Um, but, it's okay, I doesn't bother me that he
no.
said it.
Doesn't bother me in the least. No. No,
Mhm.
and this was like the most likable I found that character. I
Yeah, well,
really
he's not likable, which I think that's like,
right.
he's a
Yeah.
prick, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And that's yeah, exactly. Like, you were Captain America because you're kind of an
Yeah,
yeah,
those
like,
mhm.
it was
He
great.
is. He
Yeah, he
is.
is. He is.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like that they called his helmet a hat where they
Yeah.
jacket thing. "Oh, so you like your hat." Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know but at the end, he's like his new outfit, he's wearing an actual hat. He's wearing
Yes.
gray. That's
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful. It's
Mm.
excellent. It's good stuff. Um, yeah, no, I really liked it. It's definitely up in the top 20 for me.
Sure.
Top 15, somewhere in there. Um, Obviously, there are better ones,
Mhm.
the ones that'll be hard to ever surpass, but,
Sure.
it's almost impossible to surpass The Empire Strikes Back too, but you know what? I still love
Exactly.
the Star Wars. Doesn't mean
Exactly.
that I don't love the rest of it, so, um, yeah, good stuff.
Amen to
Anything you
that.
wanna add?
Uh, this was, this was a fun sort of ensemble, format that I hope the next one that is will this be referred to as Thunderbolts going forward? Will we be calling it New Avengers now from now on? This movie that we just watched? I don't know. And will the next one just be called New Avenger? Like, I have so many questions about that.
So that was I just also read this, that was a Kevin Feige thing
Mm,
after, like he, um after the pitch, and they, like, kinda made most of it, and they were like, "Oh, okay, no, it's gonna be New Avengers, and we're gonna call it this, and this is a good pivot for, like, where things are going." So, I
right.
don't think we're going to call the movie The New Avengers, it's
Okay.
gonna be Thunderbolts, but, like, just so we're clear,
Yeah.
like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are the Avengers.
I was hoping that asterisk would pay off in some way.
Mhm.
And yeah, it paid off the way I hoped it would.
Yeah.
I really had hoped they would do something like that and be like the winky thing of like, so the name of the movie is actually something else.
Yep. What I really liked about that is, like, these are the Avengers, and then like, open the beginning of the credits are like, "Are they?
Yeah,
Are they?
yeah, yeah. Are
Are
they?
they?"
Yeah.
'Cause, because my first thought was like, "Really? That's your new Avenger lineup,
Yeah.
huh?" And then they're like, "No, just, it
Yeah.
is, but it is, but it isn't." And even though I really like them, but,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
all just punch and shoot, as, like,
Yes.
says,
Yeah,
like,
that was great.
yeah, but anyway, Frank, where can the people find us?
Well, you could go to beerwithgeeks.com and find us there. That's usually a good place to start. You can check out past episodes, the whole, MCU going all the way back. And you can hit us up at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio if you want to support us in that way, or rate and review the show and listen and watch on YouTube or in any podcast app, Spotify, Apple, you name it, we're there. Those are the places that I would start with.
I would go there. I would go
Mm.
there myself.
Mhm,
Right
mhm,
now, maybe.
mhm.
Maybe later.
Go to This Comic Cooks on YouTube. Once a month, we do a This Month in Superman segment over there.
We sure do. But Frank, it was always a pleasure to talk to you. So, until next time, cheers.
Cheers.